Hello everybody and welcome to the Royal Chess YouTube channel. My name is David Koniowski and this is part 7, so the last part of my serial about Akiba Rubinstein, one of the best chess players in the chess history and also the best Polish chess player in the whole chess history of chess in Poland. And for the last part, I have decided to show you another masterpiece by Akiba Rubinstein, and it is especially an endgame masterpiece. One more, we would go into 1909 and into the famous chess tournament in St. Petersburg, and also very good tournament for Akiba Rubinstein, who won this tournament. And this is a game between Spielmann and Rubinstein. At the beginning, it is needed to say that in this game, in fact, Rubinstein was lost in the middle game. But Spielmann didn't get his chance to beat Rubinstein, and the game ended in endgame. And in fact, I believe that Spielmann was quite satisfied with his position. I mean the position which we are currently looking at the board. And we have a very interesting rook endgame in here. As you can see, the material is equal. Both sides have one rook and 4 pawns. And for the first eye, it seems that white could be better, because white is having a very nice passed pawn, which can go to promote into the queen to a8 square. And as you know, one of the golden rule in rook endings is that the rook or the best placement of the rook is behind the pawn, especially behind the passed pawn. And as you can see, white rook is already prepared to go to a2 and to be placed behind white passed pawn. So it seems very nice for white, but the truth is that in this position black is better, which is really interesting. And the reason for that is that here Rubinstein chose, of course, a very good move, a precise move, and it is rook a8. And also, it seems that black rook is not to be placed good in here, because, as I have already mentioned, the rook should stay behind the passed pawn and not in front of it. And here, black rook is standing in front of it. But it is a big difference. The big difference is that pawn on a3 is still quite far from a8 square, and white even didn't play rook a2 in here, because after rook a2, black is of course playing rook a4, and this is a nice exception of that golden rule that rook should stay behind the pawn, because here, although white rook is behind the pawn and black rook is in front of the pawn, it is absolutely clear that black rook is much better in this position, much more active, and black is just better in here. And this is also a very important reason to play rook a8 in here, because, for example, after rook b3, black can already gain a pawn, because, as you can see, the problem of white position is that white is having 4 pawns, but all 4 pawns are isolated. So white is having 4 pawns and also 4 pawn islands. So black has got only 2 pawn islands, which is much better for him. So here black would gain a pawn, but after rook a2, rook d3, a4, here of course white rook is much better and it is greatly placed behind the pawn, and in fact black has to play rook c4, rook c8 and rook a8, and here of course the only side who can play for the win is white, although he is a pawn down, but this pawn is just super strong in here. White's rook is on its best spot, so behind the pawn, and of course black rook is just too passive. So this is a very good reason why to play rook a8, and after rook c3 still Rubinstein played rook a4, and here white has to play rook d3, and it is clear that black is better, and this is the reason why black is better in this endgame, in this position, because black rook is nicely active. It is attacking both white pawns on a3 and d4, and white rook is only defending its pawns. And of course the plan of black is quite easy in here. Rubinstein played king e7, king e6, and after king f3 king d5, and it is clear that also black king is much better in this position, much more active. Is just greatly staying on d5, but the truth is that objectively white should be able to draw this endgame, should be able to hold the position, but of course in practical game it is far away from easy task. So of course in analyzing this endgame we can find more moments where white could have played better in here and probably hold the game and hold the position, but of course it's just a theory, it's just analyze, but from the board it's just absolutely different task, and as we would see, Spielmann just didn't get this task to be done. After king e2, Rubinstein simply improved his position by g5, and after rook b3 f6, and you can see that black pawns are nicely covering each other, which is very good for black. And after king e3 simply king c4 and d5, and black is just improving his position move by move. And after king d2 it still seems that white is let's say holding the position, but the problem for him is that the number of his moves is just too limited, and Rubinstein found it. He played rook a8, after king e2 rook a7, very nice and very important tempo, and after king d2 rook e7, and it is clear that white has to give up one of his pawns. He cannot defend all his pawns anymore, because for example after king c2 there is a check on e2 of course, which is very unpleasant, and after rook c3 black just simply took on d4, and white played a4, which is logical because black finally black is finally not stopping white a pawn from going forward. And after rook a7 rook a3 it seems that white has enough compensation for the pawn, because finally this rook is quite active, quite good. It is behind the pawn is marching towards, and also white rook is nicely defending the third rank. But of course Rubinstein continued in a great play in here, and black has to play rook a5, so stopping past pawn on a4 as as quick as possible. And after rook a1, now it is a very important question again, how to improve black's position, because now it is clear that rook on a5 is a bit passive. It's only covering, or maybe better to say blockading, white pass pawn from going forward. So what to do with it? But of course Rubinstein knew very well what to do, and he made a very important idea in similar situations, in similar positions, and he just played king c4. And here it was one of the last chance for white to hold the position, and it was probably needed to play rook c1 and rook b1, and with immediate counterplay. But after king c4, Spielmann chose king e3, but after d4, king d2, black simply played rook f5 with a very important tempo, and with a threat to simply taking on f2. And after king e1, king b4, another very important move, and after king e2, Rubinstein ended very important idea in this position, and the idea is switching black king for a black rook, because now black king is blockading this pawn from going forwards, and it means that black rook is finally active again, and it can attack white pawns. And in this position, black is already winning. There is no more chance for white to hold the position, to hold the game, because he's just a pawn down. Still, all his three pawns are weak, and there's literally no way how to proceed his past a pawn going forwards. So after rook a3, simply rook f4. After rook a2, just rook h4, king d3, taking on h3, check on h4, and after king d3, simply taking on a4. And black is already 2 pawns up, which is simply enough to be able to win the game. And we can see, of course, the rest of the game, but in fact this is quite an easy task for black. The last step of this beautiful endgame by Akiba Rubinstein is improving his king again, going to the center and of course to the king side, where all black pawns are at the moment. And white's last chance is to stop it, to blockade the black king. But after rook c1, rook a4, here Rubinstein just wanted to play rook a6 and rook c6, and then of course going closer to the king side. And after rook h1, simply king c6, and covering the pawn with rook a7. And again, you can see that this structure of black pawns is just superb, because these 2 pawns are covered by another pawn, and black has to cover only this one pawn with a rook, which is simply enough. After king e4, king d6, king f5, last chance for white. Of course, he's going to play king g6, taking, and it seems that again white could have enough counterplay in here, but another nice idea is coming by Rubinstein, and it is g6. And by sacrificing one pawn, black is exchanging rooks. And of course, after king e5, king g6, and g4, it is clear that pawn endgame is of course easily winning for black. He's just playing f5, king f4, and so on, and there is no chance to hold the position. For example, g4, f5, king e4, king f3, and of course simply taking on f2 and going to promote on g1. So this is one of the best endgames by Akiba Rubinstein, I believe, and also one of the most instructive rook endgames, not only by Akiba Rubinstein, but of all chess history. So I believe it was a very nice example that Rubinstein was a genius player, not only in the middle game but also in endgames, and his endgames are just perfect and just so instructive, and we can learn really very much from Rubinstein's endgames. So this is the end of my serial about Akiba Rubinstein. I really hope you have liked it. That you have liked the examples I have chosen for you. Thank you for watching. Thank you for liking my videos, and of course thank you for liking Royal Chess YouTube channel. We really try to make nice instructive videos for you, so you could improve your chess at all. So not only your tactical chess, but also of course positional and strategical chess. And I believe Akiba Rubinstein is really one of the best teachers for improving our chess feeling. So thank you for watching again, and see you later at another serial by myself.